In Hong Kong, a reunion. Alumni from Lingnan University come from all over the world to reminisce, sing the old songs, and celebrate both the school and the spirit behind it. It's an approach to education that has survived and prospered for more than 125 years. It's a spirit that has linked Americans and Chinese citizens even through the great changes of the past century. It's based upon a belief that people from both countries have much to share and much to learn from one another.
It is very important that the people of China and the people of the United States have a better understanding of each other. And the role of young people in this process is critical.
The Lingnan Spirit, Education for Service, is made possible by Telamon Corporation. Headquartered in Carmel, Indiana, Telamon is a people-oriented organization that takes special interest in supporting local community organizations through service and education. The Confucius Institute in Indianapolis, connecting cultures and building bridges of understanding through language education, academic exchanges, and promoting Chinese culture. The Confucius Institute in Indianapolis at IUPUI.
Wang traveled to Los Angeles as an exchange student from Sun Yat-sen University, one of China's great national schools. An exceptional student studying international relations, he's taking part in the Lingnan Foundation's Chan Fellowship. The program places Chinese students at University of California campuses, pairs them with American host families, and links them into internships at NGOs focused on community service.
This fellowship is very useful in the development of our students. They are sent to the U.S. to work for not-for-profit organizations and social service organizations and develop the skills and learn more about how to run service organizations efficiently.
Ryan lives with the Silvers, a couple who have already raised their own children into adulthood and were happy to have another student in their home.
Ryan has a really good sense of humor. He's a good joker and he's a good teaser, and he accepts both of those two things, and so am I. So that was a real big eye-opener.
I think he's helping to shatter some myths maybe that I've had about Chinese students.
Ryan acts as a docent at the Museum of Tolerance, the educational arm of the Simon Wiesenthal Center in West Los Angeles.
Are you ready to go? Yeah. Okay, come follow me.
Leading visitors of all ages through Holocaust history and showing its relationship to modern forms of discrimination.
When I was in China, I'm not so familiar with the Jewish cultures and Jewish life. It's a really great experience for me to explore more culture, the different cultures in the world. It's a really great way for me to think about how I can promote social justice and promote human rights in China. It's not just like lectures in the classroom.
Ryan is the first Chan Fellow the Simon Wiesenthal Center has ever hosted, creating a learning experience on both sides.
Through service learning, the students hopefully are gaining background in some important skills or concepts, but then they're seeing how they can apply them in a very meaningful way. We just had a workshop looking at the threat actually of social media and the internet. Ryan actually is helping us with research, looking at some Asian hate sites. But I think in many ways, what I'm hoping Ryan is taking away is that we're an educational institution. So Ryan is very actively participating in many of our educational programs. We've talked about how perhaps this kind of program can be taken back to China. I said to him, you know, do students in China also face bullying? He said, of course they do, everywhere in the world.
Museum of Tolerance is a fabulous place to promoting the human rights and social justice. So I come to know more about how to educate the public. I think that experience is pretty cool and it's really valuable for me and even for my future life. I get frustrated.
In the 1800s, religious organizations from the United States found an educational foothold in China. Canton Christian College became Lingnan University and settled finally on a beautiful campus in Guangzhou. The lovely architecture, immortalized in art all those years ago, stood the test of time, and it continues to inspire today.
A group of folks in America who had the vision and the passion all those many years ago to found a university in Guangzhou 125 years ago. And this is really a story of tremendous vision, passion, interest to bridge the gap between America and China through promoting higher education.
Lingnan Foundation foresee everything a lot earlier. High quality, high education, high quality. I emphasize high quality is a very important one. Of course, American universities are leading in quality in the world. So it is a big opportunity for American university to join in.
Over the years, the professors, their children, and the students who lived on the Guangzhou campus developed a singular feeling of commitment, of genuine family, that to this day binds them together.
So coming to Lingnan and going to school there as an elementary school student, you know, we were allowed to come and go and we were allowed to ask questions. And of course, we lived on campus because my parents both worked there. That made it even easier. We walk over to the campus and we get involved with everything. It was just a delightful, delightful experience for a young girl and to a certain extent, a tom girl.
My father went out to Lingnan in 1922, just after getting out of college. And he had been a chemistry major, and that led to 30 years of exposure to Lingnan. A wonderful career.
The advent of China's new government following World War II resulted in the dissolution of over a dozen private universities in favor of state schools. The beautiful Lingnan campus in Guangzhou became part of one of the great national schools, Sun Yat-sen University. But Lingnan leadership reincarnated their school once again, this time in Hong Kong. Lingnan alums, those powerful men and women and their families, founded not only another college campus, but schools built from the elementary grades up. The officials, the graduates, and the so-called children of Lingnan populated the school's foundation, government, and business leadership roles around the world.
Lingnan and 12 Christian universities were dismissed in 1952 during the departmental adjustment in China. A team of alumni and I went to Beijing together. At that time, Prime Minister and Board of Education Director Li Peng heard about this idea. He told me Lingnan's education method is different from others. We are more united and more westernized.
The Lingnan alumni always wanted to do something back in the old campus, where they have lived for so many formative years in their life. At that time, the Ministry of Education was not too willing to let Hong Kong people to come in. But eventually, I think through my father's friends, the Vice Premier at the time, he agreed that we can come back to the old campus.
And with that, Lingnan was reborn in its original home, now a profound part of the Sun Yat-sen University experience, and a source of immense pride to the living graduates who not only refused to give up the value of education for service, but continued to invest in it over the intervening decades.
living Lingnan has had a presence under 3 different kinds of governance. The old Qing dynasty, exhausted, worn out, unprogressive. Then the democratic New Republic of China under Sun Yat-sen, and now the People's Republic. Education for Service is a survivor. It survives political change.
Chi Chao Chan is another child of Lingnan who spent her young life on the campus with her professional parents, learning in a fashion different from other young Chinese, steeped in the Lingnan spirit that would shape her future.
There are plenty playground. We go to catch dragonfly. We go to climbing the trees and all this. Have fun, and we help out each other. And we connect. We just keep thinking we are Lingnan because this is so lovely campus, and we have loving family. Not just professors, everybody, you know, whoever worked in Lingnan.
Now a globally known ophthalmologist with the National Institutes of Health, Chi Chao is proud of the outreach the Lingnan Foundation is using to influence students around the world.
As a physician, I think it's very important not only know the medical knowledge, but also you need to understand the patient, help the patient as one of your family member. That you can do better because medicine is not just medical knowledge, also it's art and service for the people. That fits the Lingnan spirit and Lingnan mission, education for service.
This motto, education for service, is timeless. It wasn't good just in 1880, in the 1880s. It's just right now in today's world as well.
Student Xinxin Zhu was already interested in labor issues in China when she learned about the Chan Fellowship. As another high-performing student from Sun Yat-sen University, her internship dovetails perfectly with the skills she hopes to take home.
I work in the UCLA Downtown Labor Center. I work with a program called Global Solidarity. It's about establish the relationship between China and the Los Angeles unions. I've learned a lot about how they organize the workers, how they do the trainings, how they improve the leadership among the workers.
Our Chan Fellow, Xinxin, is part of our family. She hangs out with our staff, she comes to our staff meetings, she attends meetings, conferences, events, activities. She represents the UCLA Labor Center. When she goes out in the public, that's who she is. We have benefited from her participation, from her insight, from her experience, and I think she has also grown and benefited from working here.
Gary Zhang, now an attorney in Hong Kong, says being a Chan Fellow changed the person he would become.
The Chan Fellowship experience made public service or social service part of our life. And it's not just during the Chan Fellowship experience. After the Chan Fellowship period, we make it a continuing mission of our life. This is the same for many of my co-fellows and our friends from the Chan Fellowship program. The fellowship program really functions as a bridge for cultural exchange between China and the US. The team of Chan Fellows represent a younger generation of Chinese, and when they come to the States, they will show to the American people how the new generation of Chinese will make contributions to social service and how the new generation will react to the outside world. They will show to the US public that they are a group of young people of very good education, they are very active, they're very sophisticated.
It looks like a light, but actually it's called solar tube. All day we have sunlight here.
Jacqueline Cheng was a statistics major at Sun Yat-sen University before she came to Santa Monica Community College to intern at an environmental program called Sustainable Works. It was a good fit because Jacqueline wants to help with waste management policy in Guangzhou, and Sustainable Works really needed someone with her skills.
They create workshops for students in college. Basically, it's like a 9-week program, and each week they talk about different topics like water, energy, transportation, shopping and food, talk about the problems we face and what we can do and in our daily life, just some simple and hands-on solutions to make our life just easier and reduce our harm to the environment.
She's a genius, I'm telling you right now.
Garrett Hart leads the Sustainable Works program and says that while it was a leap of faith to take on students from a culture a little less familiar than that of other interns, he's never been happier with the decision.
I mean, she's only 21 years old, she's an undergraduate, but she knows things that none of us know, and she's able to just kind of cut through it and get it done, which is really great.
You see no grass here because we want to save water.
So they're not just here learning and taking it back, I assume. They are here actually making changes within our organization right now. So we benefit tremendously.
It's really fun for us, but also a great experience to be able to host international students here and share our view of American culture, and they can see our marriage too of what an international marriage looks like, and a really comfortable and loving relationship that we have. Jacqueline has been really sweet, and she has a nice sense of humor and brings a lot of fun to their house. So I've really enjoyed having her here.
They are really fun and very sweet and really loving. So we are having a really wonderful time. In addition, their intention to make the world a better place is pretty impressive.
We use water every day, and this helps.
So what happens with the Chan Fellows that get to work here, and I do call it work because they work very hard, is they're experiencing working with the community and seeing results on a daily and weekly basis. So I think that has instilled in them the idea that what they do has an impact very quickly. You're actually taking what you know and making things happen. We hope to always have a Chan Fellow here. This was our idea. This is really good stuff.
Whether their service education happens in Southern California or in Northern California at UC Berkeley, the Chan Fellows are celebrated, along with their host families, at the end of the semester. Clearly, bonds were formed, but most important are the lessons each student will take back home, adding his or her own new perspective to China's future.
I think the W.T. Chan Fellowship is a marvelous opportunity for a young student from China to expand her or his horizons way beyond what they would get as an education in China. And so the lucky students who are part of this program learn about the U.S., they learn about service to the community, they learn about what things are really like when they go to work actually, and they're not just studying. First of all, they're chosen because of their history of service and their academic record. So they're already sort of at the top of their game, but when they come here, they gain so much more.
Program organizers at the Greenleaf Center for Servant Leadership in Indianapolis are excited to see students like the Chan Fellows and their peers around the world taking on these important learning opportunities.
So the impact is we correlate servant leadership and the millennial generation. They are much more socially conscious. They want to make a greater impact on the world around them. Being a servant leader is a lifetime commitment. It is something that you are every single day. You utilize skills and traits and characteristics of who you are to be a better person, to serve other people first.
That continuum of servant leadership is exactly the value that Lingnan officials wanted to foster permanently.
We set up an office in 2006, the Office of Service Learning, the first one of its kind in Hong Kong, to actually make service projects and service learning more prominent.
Carol Ma is one of Lingnan's ongoing success stories. Like Gary Zhang, Carol is among the first Chan Fellows. Describing herself as a once shy young woman, you would never know it, as Carol literally took the stage to lead the huge 125th anniversary celebration of Lingnan University and the Lingnan Foundation's international outreach. As a Chan Fellow, Carol took on the difficult role of an advocate for elderly medical patients in Southern California. She says her experiences taught her that her dreams were within reach. She went on to attain both a master's and PhD, and now she helps lead the Office of Service Learning at Lingnan University in Hong Kong because she believes students need continuing education for service.
When I take up the job at Lingnan University, it's very, very difficult because no one knows what is the meaning of service learning. So what I need to do is go to different professors and then talk to different community partners to tell them about the meaning of service learning. And until now, we have over 39 courses with service learning elements at Lingnan University and over 200 partners in Hong Kong to work with us.
We have a song at Lingnan. It is called For the God, for the Country, and for Lingnan. This song represents us as students of Lingnan. We should serve the country and serve Lingnan. I think this is the spirit of Lingnan.
Lingnan, you! Okay. This is education for service, engagement. It ties it to a moral value, human value.
And on the 125th anniversary of Lingnan University, those ties pull on the heart, drawing hundreds of alumni back to their roots.
I helped contacting with Lingnan alumni from all over the world. I truly felt the warmth and closeness of their friendship.
When you go out and see and take part in a Lingnan celebration of 120 years, you're seeing a family gathered.
Personally, my life story is given by Lingnan. The service spirit I learned through the decades means a great deal to my life. I'm very optimistic.
They demonstrate their love of their school to the younger generation, celebrating both the historic past and the accomplishments of the newest students.
I'm proud of the Lingnan. I am so happy to be a student of Lingnan University.
And from those who remember their Lingnan life from decades ago to the most recent of proud graduates, the joy of service is shared again and again. Friendship and connections are revived and renewed, ensuring once more that the Lingnan value of service to one's fellow man will never be lost.
Education for service is a survivor. It speaks to something really profound in human nature. That being a Lingnan motto is just wonderful. I'm a loyal son.
The Lingnan spirit, education for service, is made possible by Telemann Corporation. Headquartered in Carmel, Indiana, Telemann is a people-oriented organization that takes special interest in supporting local community organizations through service and education. The Confucius Institute in Indianapolis, connecting cultures and building bridges of understanding through language education, academic exchanges, and promoting Chinese culture. The Confucius Institute in Indianapolis at IUPUI.